video on it, but yesterday night I decided to do a video regarding Mason Rudolph and the Tennessee Titans, and you should go check that out. Will Mason Rudolph be the starter in Tennessee? I gave my opinions. I laid them all out. I accidentally went live yesterday. Did not know that I went live. Josh had to let me know that I went live. But nonetheless, I did accidentally go live. But the video of me actually being live and recording is now up to be viewed on YouTube. A lot of opinions have been stated already, but most people have said that they think Mason will be the starter, which I find very interesting. But this isn't about Mason Rudolph. This is about our signings at quarterback. After Mason Rudolph left and we were assuming that he was going to leave, we were left with the opportunity of figuring out who was going to either back up Kenny Pickett or kind of replace Kenny Pickett for the season. And that question was answered on, I believe, Sunday night. Because, yeah, it was Sunday night, late Sunday night. The Steelers had presumably agreed mutually to a contract that would be signed later in the week to get Russell Wilson on a league minimum contract. Now, the thing is if you are a follower of the channel, if you've watched this video before, I put Russell Wilson very low on my quarterback list. I really did. I put him at like number 5, I believe, 5 or 6. And I feel kind of bad now because, like, I mean, he's definitely better than Desmond Ridder and Mac Jones. I still agree with that. He was linked to Desmond Ridder, and the Steelers were linked to Desmond Ridder and Mac Jones. And I put like Russell Wilson at 5 or 6. Now, this was initially. Go ahead.
Stan, I don't know if you watched that video. I just want you to know, just for context here, he put Russ below Ryan Tannehill. So,
yes, I did. Now, the reason that I did that was because of a couple of things. But the one main reason that I was afraid of was I did not want to pay Russell Wilson a $14, $15, $20 million contract, kind of like how Denver did, and be stuck with him for 2 years. And I was like, we could be using that cap space for everything else. And that was way before I found out that Russ just wanted the league minimum because he was going to be paid like $80 million from the Broncos. So that's why I put him so low. Ryan Tannehill would have been cheap. A lot of these quarterbacks would have been cheap. Kirk Cousins obviously had a great number of seasons with Minnesota. I put him at number 2. I'm sorry to all the Steelers fans out there that are about to comment right now that I'm a terrible person and I think that I shouldn't be a Steelers fan. I apologize. However, at the moment in time, I'm sure you as a Steelers fan also probably believed that Russell Wilson probably didn't want the league minimum. He probably wanted a big boy contract. And how would that have impacted our cap space, really, truthfully? And that's why I put him low. Now, he's a decent quarterback. I think he still has, a very good year left in him. I think he has a lot to prove when it comes to actually, being benched and cut by the Broncos. I think, after having 26 touchdowns, they're kind of pushing for a 9-8 season. They probably weren't going to make playoffs, but, they're still kind of making that playoff push late in the season. He did pretty well. I mean, he did really well this past season compared to 2022. Now, if we get 2022 Russ, Steelers might be cooked. But if we get 2023 Russ, we might be in some good shape. I mean, we
cook.
Yeah, we need to let Russ cook. Steelers country, let's weld. I'm kind of digging it. I'm kind of digging the. I'm really digging it, honestly. I'm really digging the. He's starting to grow on me a little bit. There's a lot of hype in Pittsburgh around him.
Is that a thing? What? I know Joe mentioned it in our meeting earlier, but I thought he was like joking. Is that a real thing around Pittsburgh?
Yeah. Well, I don't actually think that they're saying that, but somebody made a meme about it saying Steelers country, let's weld. And it was like a welding factory, like blowing up. I think it was on like NFL memes or like Ghetto Gronk or one of those Instagram pages, but they also post them on Twitter as well, or X or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I'm just gonna. I mean, my friends have been really hyping up Russ being here on the 1-year league minimum, and we're really getting behind Mr. Unlimited. So I'm really excited about. I'm actually kind of excited about it. I want to see what he does. Initially, I also thought that Kenny Pickett would be starting over Russ, but I think I can't see there being any sort of opportunity where Kenny Pickett is going to start with the hype and everything. The Steelers Nation would probably kill the Steelers organization if they had Russell Wilson behind Kenny Pickett. I think Russ is going to start over Kenny Pickett, and I think Kenny Pickett is just going to have to learn. And I think maybe next year will be the determination of what will happen. Because if Russ does good this year, gets us a playoff win, I can't see the Steelers not signing Russell Wilson again for a year or 2 years for like an actual bigger contract extension. And on top of that, at that point, like you got to figure out if Kenny Pickett's just going to be a certified backup. Probably next year at that point, if you have Russell Wilson as your main guy, you'd probably trade Kenny. And then if Russ doesn't cook this year and he does average and you want to start Kenny again, you let Russell Wilson walk, then maybe next year Kenny would be in hot water. But I really don't even see Kenny Pickett really taking the field much this year. It's probably going to be a lot of preseason reps for Mr. Kenneth. But I don't know. I mean, I take back a lot of what I said. You know, Mr. Unlimited, man, Mr. Unlimited's really growing on me here.
I've got to defend him now. He's my guy.
No, I mean, I don't know. He's corny, but he's really funny, and he's really the stupid. Like I knew about the Mr. Unlimited thing, but I was just so far out of like whatever Russell Wilson was doing that I just like did not care. But like now, like everyone's like, oh yeah, Mr. Unlimited's coming to Pittsburgh. I'm like, okay, and like I'm really getting behind it now. So I'm kind of feeding into the hype. And that could be really bad, but I think it's going to spark the offense. And I think that's why we're so excited, because we have a new offensive coordinator in Pittsburgh. We've got a new quarterback in Pittsburgh, you know, that has Super Bowl experience, that's won games, had really good seasons, has played against the likes of Tom Brady, as well as beating, I believe he beat Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl. Is that facts? Is that facts?
Yeah, that's true.
So. Yeah,
that is facts.
True.
Yeah, Russ cooked in that Super Bowl, and he also lost to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, which that's unfortunate. But nonetheless, Russ got some experience there. He's got some playoff experience, and I think that's kind of what Steelers Nation is excited for, because we've been without a playoff win for like 7 or 8 years. We've got a new offense brewing here after a train wreck dumpster fire Matt Canada 3 seasons. We're ready to go, and I think Russ is going to be a really key piece.
And when you're talking about Russ with the Steelers, look at what he did last year. I mean, the first, 3-4 games were rough, yes. But you look any time after that, he had a 6-7 week stretch where he was looking like a top 5 quarterback, right? And when I was watching those games, I was like, Russ is back. The Broncos are going to make a Super Bowl push. That's how it looked. I mean, he was playing very, very well at that time. And we talked about it on the show back then, too. Like, he looked like a very good quarterback. And you know who didn't look like a very good quarterback last year? Kenny Pickett. So for the Steelers, to get a guy like Russ on a veteran minimum, to get any top 20 quarterback in the league on a veteran minimum, this is an absolute Steelers victory. This is probably one of the better decisions. I think this is probably – I'm going to go ahead and say this is probably the best signing of the offseason in terms of value.
I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, you get somebody like Russell Wilson on a league minimum contract with like literally no risk, no like if it's high reward, low risk. Like it is, you can't get anything better than this, because Russ doesn't cook, you're out $1.8 million on one season. Like there is nothing to lose here, and I really think that's why so many people are excited for this. And
no, I agree. I mean,
I'm a big Kenny fan, but maybe he needs a year off. Maybe he needs some time to not.
Also, Pickett, Trubisky, and Rudolph got the Steelers to the playoffs. Imagine what happens when you have a guy who at the very least is a definite starter and a top 20 quarterback.
100%. Yeah, and that's why and I think that's why people are so excited, and I'm very excited, and like the idea of like actually making like a decent push. Like I know, Josh, you're gonna like get mad at me about this, but like if the Steelers actually make like a division push this year, and they like actually maybe win the North, like I think that would actually be kind of crazy. Or like maybe not even win the North, but hey, we got George Pickens. Yeah, Tyler Boyd is not signed with anybody just yet, so
I know.
T. Higgins, you're going to be losing. You're going to be losing T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. I don't want to hear it.
We're signing Justin Jefferson.
Well, Justin Jefferson is still on his contract.
Confirmed.
It's his 5th
year. It was confirmed by a girl who works with Joe Burrow's girlfriend at Kroger.
Oh well, I read on Twitter, Antonio Brown is coming back to the Steelers.
Okay. You got that CTESPN?
Yeah.
That's not a CTE joke. That's his actual sports network for people that don't know that.
Yeah. My friend sent me the link for the internship applications that they were giving out. So,
before we get to Stan, who has been so wonderful and so patient while we talk about the Steelers, I do want to let people know, if you're watching, feel free to comment. We'd love to talk with you. And I am monitoring. There is a Mekhi Becton situation. He has been spotted. We knew that he was meeting with the Bengals today, but he has been spotted at Jeff Ruby's Steakhouse, which is where Joe Burrow is known to take his boys when he's trying to get them to sign with the Bengals. He has been spotted with Joe Burrow, Frank Pollock, and possibly also Mike Brown. So I am monitoring that situation. Also, if any other huge signings happen, we'll talk about those as well. But Stan, what have the New York Jets done that has you just so excited? You're ready to go. We're rebuilding. Zach Wilson isn't there anymore. What's going on in New York?
Well, my favorite decision so far is getting Tyrod Taylor. I mean, a few weeks ago, I decided he was the quarterback I wanted to see, and naturally, I assumed we weren't going to get him. But now that we have Tyrod Taylor, at the very least, our quarterback room is kind of set. And there's even some talks that we're going to go and get a fifth or sixth round quarterback as well. But with Tyrod Taylor and Rodgers, I'm happy with that quarterback room. And then we also got two starter-level guys to our O-line. The first one being with the trade. The first one being signing John Simpson, who came from the Ravens. And, he had the most I think, penalty yards out of any guard in the league. But outside of that, he plays a very good game. And then Morgan Moses, who we traded for, I was happy with that trade. We lost to sixth, and we traded fourths, which I think is about the value of Morgan Moses. I mean, he's in my opinion, a low-end starter and a very high-end swing tackle backup. But, these are two guys who started for the Ravens, the same Ravens who made a pretty deep playoff push. So two guys coming from a winning culture, a winning team, and a team that uses a lot of, pass action, a lot of what's the word I'm looking for?
Play action pass.
Play action. They use a lot of play action. They use a lot of movement, things that the Jets have been struggling with, and two things that the Jets have been, using a lot of penalties on. It's also something that Hackett has loved to put inside his playbooks, as we've seen this year, and also seen with the Broncos. So two guys who understand that type of football, that type of system, Moses being someone who was in New York a few years ago. So I love those two decisions too. So you have something?
Is Aaron Rodgers going to be the quarterback in New York this year? I heard he might be running for president or vice president.
So I saw that too. The story behind that, I'm gonna dismiss this right here.
Per the New York Times. New York Times, that's credible journalism.
Well, New York Times never said he's running. New York Times said that RFK Jr. wants him to run. But I could sit here right now and say I'm going to run for president and Trump's going to be my VP. That doesn't make it happen, right? I could say you're going to be my VP, Chus. That doesn't mean Chus is going to be my VP.
I think also that was a pretty key point. Also, I think why people are like rumors are swirling about it is the idea that Aaron Rodgers said that he's considering it. At least at one point he was, at least on ESPN, they said Aaron Rodgers was considering it when it was first breaking news. So, I mean, it still could happen, but as you said, nothing's confirmed yet. And I think people are jumping the gun way too early, including you, Josh. I think you're jumping the gun. I
think you'd get some free offensive linemen. The Secret Service would have to protect him. I think you should be rooting for it.
Yo, how would that change? I know this is completely off topic, but how would that change the spectrum of
exactly.
the NFL?
I'm excited for it. Stan, you should be rooting for this.
Go ahead, Stan. Continue about So Tyrod Taylor going to the Jets, more than likely is probably going to be the backup unless Aaron Rodgers somehow becomes the vice president. I mean,
it's all connected.
So we'll see what happens with that, but you Tyrod Taylor.
You got Tyrod Taylor. That's a big signing.
We got Taylor. We got Simpson and Moses. And I think my favorite signing has been actually the re-signing of Chuck Clark along with Thomas Morstead and our kicker, Greg Zerling. I mean, those are, especially with the punter and kicker, those guys have proven themselves so much this season. I think there's about 4 games that we would have lost if it wasn't for having, two of the best in those positions in the league. And then Chuck Clark, Chuck Clark was always a good safety, right? I was a fan of him back when he was with the Ravens. Unfortunately, he missed all of last season, and we still had a very good defense. So bringing Chuck Clark back, hopefully on a type of deal that he wants to prove himself on, that to me is a win. So those are the moves to me at this point that really stick out as positive moves. There are a few that I'm a bit nervous on. The main one being Javon Kinlaw coming from the 49ers. If you have watched the Super Bowl, if you've watched the playoffs at all, with the 49ers, you've seen him make an impact. But if you've watched the 49ers over the last few years, you've seen where he makes the most negative impact, which is being off the field. He's an expensive guy. I don't have the numbers right now on how much we're paying for him, but he's an expensive guy. And for a defensive tackle who can't stay healthy, coming to a team like the Jets, which have had a lot of struggles with injuries, I'm a little nervous about that.
Let's see here. Let's look up his contract right now. I looked up Javon Kinlaw Jets, and the first article is called New York Jets Wild Overpay of Javon Kinlaw Highlights Big Franchise Issue from JetX. So let's see what his contract looks like that they're actually the Jets are giving Kinlaw $7.25 million with $6.91 million guaranteed. So almost a fully guaranteed contract. So for a guy who's injured a lot, that could get dangerous real quick. We've seen that before, and we were seeing that with Deshaun Watson right now, actually. So, very interesting to see. Now let's broaden our horizons a little bit. Let's look at all the teams.
Yeah.
What is the signing in the NFL that like you saw it and it either shocked you or surprised you, and you were just like, wow, that's a great signing by this team in NFL free agency?
I've been just really excited. Well, first and foremost, I think everybody's been talking about this Titans Calvin Ridley signing. I don't know about you, but I think it's crazy. I mean, like, I understand that they were under a different GM at the time of the AJ Brown contract, like extension type thing that they were doing, but they paid Calvin Ridley almost the exact same amount of money that they didn't offer AJ Brown. It was like this whole thing that's been going on, but I think Calvin Ridley, that's a lot of money that they dished out for Calvin Ridley. I mean, I hope it pans out, but that was pretty insane. I mean, their team, somebody even mentioned this, and I don't necessarily agree with this, but I think somebody also mentioned they were like, oh, the Tennessee Titans would be good in 2020 if this was 2020. And I was like, because they have Tony Pollard, D-Hop, and Calvin Ridley. And I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, just because I still think that like D-Hop and Ridley and all of those guys do have potential. I mean, I don't think Pollard's still that bad. I think they've all got like, some potential in them, especially D-Hop. I mean, that guy hasn't slowed down just yet. I mean, let's knock on wood. Let's hope that doesn't happen this season. But yeah, I think the Calvin Ridley thing stuck out to me. And I other than his big contract and like all of that happening, I think like the running back switch ups really is going to be screwing me up for fantasy football. I really think that a lot of people aren't really understanding the fact that Josh Jacobs, different team, Austin Eckler, different team. And I can just go on and on and on about all of these running backs, all switching teams, and they're just all over the place. And we have no idea how well these running backs are going to perform in other teams. I mean, we saw Melvin Gordon leave the LA Chargers after holding out for half a season. Now, granted, that there's a whole holdout situation with that, but he went to Denver, and bro literally stunk. He's not even in the NFL anymore. Like, I'm not saying that this is going to happen to some of these running backs, but like, it does make you wonder. I mean, Dalvin Cook went to the Jets. I mean, Stan, how much of an impact did Dalvin Cook make for you guys this year? I mean, your running back depth chart was insane this year.
Yeah, a big impact, but a very negative one.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and he was a stud over in Minnesota just to go to the Jets and be like no impact. And was he only on like a 1-year deal? Did you guys sign him?
Yeah, it was a 1-year deal, but we ended up cutting him, I think, last week of the season.
Yeah.
He finished on the Ravens.
Oh yeah, you're right.
He went to the Ravens for the playoffs. And I'll tell you what, that Calvin Ridley contract, that was big for Bengals fans, even though it's not obviously a Bengals player, but that is the same agent T. Higgins has. And Calvin Ridley got $50 million guaranteed. And there's a rumor out there that T. Higgins' agent, David Malagueta, wants T. Higgins to get $70 million guaranteed. And that is why this extension just hasn't happened. And now that Calvin Ridley's out here, I think everyone will agree that T. Higgins is better than Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley's out here getting $50 million guaranteed in his contract.
It's just wild. That is wild.
I love T. Higgins. I'll root for him probably wherever he goes. But the Bengals would be stupid to give him $70 million guaranteed where they're at right now. So
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if and I hate to say it, but I think there's a trade brewing over in Cincinnati. Yeah, it was Justin Jefferson. Yeah, I think it was just the problem is
I'm
Josh.
just gonna lean into it. Tyler Eifert said so. And
Okay, but
Burrow's cousin's friend or something. I don't know.
All right, the only I have two things actually. I kind of want to mention real quick. So Justin Jefferson, you guys would only have JJ for a season, and then you would have to figure out if you were going to hold on to JJ or if you were going to hold on to Jamar Chase, because you can't hold on to both. And no, Jamar Chase probably isn't going to take a pay cut. Joe Burrow didn't take a pay cut, so I'm tired of hearing a pay cut. You got to figure it out. And then second of all, how about let's shout out to our boy over in Steelers Nation Australia real quick. I think it's kind of crazy that we actually could have trusted a Bengal when it came to the Russell Wilson signing. I just feel like that was interesting.
I forgot about that. yeah.
Why?
I don't.
All love to Australia though. I
love Australia. But
Josh just got really angry over this, and I totally forgot about it.
No, I like Australia. I think he makes very entertaining videos. I think he has a lot of really good takes. But he had one video specifically where he was like, "Never trust a bungle," and it was about Chad Ochocinco saying he had insider information that the Steelers were looking into Russell Wilson. He said, "There's no way that's going to happen. That won't happen." Guess what? Guess who your quarterback is? Russell Wilson. Ocho don't lie. Ocho tells the truth. Always.
So that was entertaining. Stan, what are you thinking about when it comes to all of these signings that are happening? Anything that stuck out to you?
Well, two big things. I mean, the first one being, as Josh kind of mentioned, the wide receiver market has been kind of insane. I mean, to Calvin really kind of set, you always see the first big contract that sets the standard. And wide receivers are going to get some big money this year. But the other thing that really surprised me was the opposite end for the safety market. I mean, there's so many big safeties still out there who haven't gotten teams yet. And most of the safeties, I think, outside of McKinney, have really been, in my opinion, terribly underpaid. So I wonder what that tells us about, do teams value safeties a little bit less at this point in time? Is that position being looked at a little bit lower? I mean, Jamal Adams, for example, one of the most valued safeties 4 years ago on the Jets, is now is basically zero value, right? I mean, no one really wants him in the league right now. So that's a question maybe for you guys. Do you guys have any idea what's going on with the safety market?
Well, what I think is there was a ton of safeties this year. There was basically they said, if we don't sign you, then we're just going to go sign someone else. And I think the real winner in all of this was Jesse Bates, because he got out and he left the Bengals while it was still a competitive market and got $16 million guaranteed, got big money. And now the Bengals have essentially found his replacement in Geno Stone from the Ravens, $15 million his entire contract. So Jordan Poyer's the same way. All-Pro, Pro Bowl safety. I think he's on a 1-year deal, which he's an older safety, but
for $2 million.
Yeah, it's just that there's so many guys. Justin Simmons isn't even signed yet because there's some decent DBs in this draft as well. Some that you could get as late as the third. So I think a lot of GMs this year are just saying you can come play with us, but you're not going to get what you would have 2 years ago because we can go sign someone else in free agency. And if we can't do that, we'll just go draft someone, right? I don't know if Chus has different thoughts.
No,
there.
I would probably agree with that. I mean, I think, like you said, I think the market is crazy right now. And I think that I personally thought that was going to be how the running backs were going to go this year. I thought a lot of people were going to kind of not sign running backs. I thought that a lot of people were just going to go and draft running backs, or maybe, we pick up a couple running backs here and there. Obviously I was wrong. They flipped running backs all over the entire NFL. I mean, when we were talking about safeties, I mean, I know you mentioned that the Steelers needed a safety, and we did in fact sign a safety. Not one of the big safeties, but Deshaun Elliott from, I believe it was the Dolphins. I think he came from. Yeah. He played for 4 different teams. I think it was the Lions and the Dolphins, and there was maybe another team in there. But yeah, he's former Dolphin. So we do have another safety over there. inexpensive deal, kind of like I think they said it was like KZ's similar contract to that. So I mean, not even the Steelers are like, even with like the cap space that we do have, like we're not going out of our way to go and like secure like a Justin Simmons, like you mentioned. Like I just find it very interesting. I think it's just, you know, the market, like you said, isn't as competitive, and you can get some really, really solid safeties in the draft this year. So I don't really think there's an urgency right now. And if there is an urgency, maybe there's a safety that players or that a coach missed out on, or organization missed out on when drafting. I think at that point they'll probably reevaluate and be like, oh shoot, Justin Simmons or, you know, whoever is still available, let's go pick them up before the season starts. And then they'll go from there. So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these safeties don't get signed until after the draft.
Bengals are gonna have. I was just hand go. I was gonna say something stupid.
I was gonna say another thing. I think I've noticed, at least recently in the game, is you don't see safeties as part of the rush as much as they used to be. I mean, maybe in Madden you do, but in the real NFL, you don't see safeties rushing as much. And I think maybe that's also not only, you know, is there so much supply of safeties, there's a whole lot less demand. Because when safeties are just playing, a whole lot of zone and man, a lot of times you could have a cornerback play both those positions. And there's a lot of guys today in the NFL who are just getting really good at those specific skill sets. So guys like, especially Jamal Adams, I think is the perfect example of this. His skills are just not that useful right now in the NFL. And a big part of that goes to, edges. Over the last 10 years, that position has basically become one of the most important, maybe number 3 most important position on the football field. And that was not that much of a deal just about 10 years ago. And that's also happened as quarterbacks have gone faster. The way you stop quarterbacks have changed. So I think just the game is kind of evolving. And I think the hypothesis will only be tested next year when we see how that safety market looks.
Yes, definitely. There's a lot of really good safeties still on the market that I'm kind of surprised are still out there. I wish there were more good defensive tackles out on the market. Nose tackles specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about the Commanders a little bit.
Yes, I've been seeing memes about this because their signings are actually like the most Madden thing I've ever seen in my life. But let's get into this.
So they have so far signed former Chiefs guard Nick Allegretti, which he played more center than guard last season, but Dorrance Armstrong from the Cowboys is a defensive end, Jeremy Chin from the Panthers at safety, Zach Ertz at tight end, Frankie Laveau from the Panthers is a linebacker. Marcus Mariota, which that one confused the heck out of me for a hot minute.
Hey, you need depth, and you need depth quarterbacks.
Well,
a Madden franchise guy in me would probably be like, that is a great signing. We need a backup quarterback.
I'll tell you here in a minute why that one confused me. Brandon McManus is honestly probably the best signing on this list right now. PFF wise is the kicker. Tyler Ott, the long snapper, and then they signed Anthony Pittman, linebacker, and brought back Efe Obada, the defensive end. So the reason the Marcus Mariota signing confused me was because all year we'd been hearing, they're going to take a quarterback at 2. It's clear that Sam Howell's going to be the backup. And then they signed Marcus Mariota, and I was like, well, they're not going to run with Marcus Mariota as the starter, right? So is Sam Howell the starter? Well, no, Sam Howell is not the starter. In fact, they traded Sam Howell today to the Seahawks for a 3rd round pick 78, and a 5th round pick 152. In addition to Sam Howell, the Seahawks also received. So the Seahawks not only got a backup quarterback, they got some decent picks. They got pick 102 in round 4 and pick 179 in round 6. So I have seen a lot of people say the Commanders won this trade and that Adam Peters is going to get GM of the year because of this trade alone. What do you guys think about this trade?
I think that cannot be further from the truth. I mean, there was about a 10-game stretch last season where Sam Howell looked like, he was the real deal. I mean, one of mine and Josh's mutual friends, big Commanders fan. And I remember watching the games with him every single week, and we'd watch some really good play come from Sam Howell. So I am super, not really surprised, but I guess disappointed in the Commanders for making this decision. I think at the very least they should have kept him around because he's not a very expensive quarterback to keep around. He's not a very expensive depth piece. It's very cheap for a depth quarterback. So I think he should have been kept around. And I think the Seahawks are by far the winner of this. As you mentioned, they're getting picks back. It's not like they're just giving away those picks. And in addition to that, they're getting a quarterback who, for 10 games, looked like what the real deal, looked like one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. And you can't really say that about a whole lot of other quarterbacks. So, just to look at it from the Seahawks perspective, they had Geno Smith. What does he have left in the tank? To get a guy like Sam Howell who looked so good for so long, I think it's worth the risk.
What do you think, Chus?
Yeah, I agree. I think Seattle got Sam Howell in a pretty decent trade. I don't think that it's going to be like anything huge with Washington being like, this moving Sam Howell. I honestly thought that Sam Howell probably had the potential to be one of the best quarterbacks next to Brock Purdy out of that 2022 draft. Looking at it, that draft is not meeting expectations at all. Oh my goodness, it is not at all. That draft class is freaking wicked. But when it comes to Sam Howell, I think he had a lot of potential. I think he showed a lot more potential than Desmond Ridder did. And I think he showed even more potential than Kenny Pickett. Heck, he probably even showed more potential than Malik Willis. What is Malik Willis even doing right now? Is he going to be on the depth chart for the Tennessee Titans? I don't even know. But nonetheless, I think Sam Howell over in Seattle is going to be solid. And who knows? Geno Smith is getting up there a little bit in age. But if you take a couple years to develop him, you could have literally like what the Steelers had with a Mason Rudolph just sitting there. And if the Seahawks are smart and they actually give Sam Howell a little bit of time to develop, and if they let go of Geno Smith or whatever they decide to do, Sam Howell could be a pretty decent guy over in Seattle. And I don't really know what the Washington Commanders are thinking about doing, what they thought about doing with all that. But so are they going to go and are they looking to draft a quarterback? Are they going to run with Marcus Mariota? I'm assuming they're not going to run with Mariota.
I assume they're drafting a guy now. Before I thought maybe that they were going to go after Marvin Harrison Jr., give Sam Howell someone to throw to, build a chemistry with, which obviously Terry McLaurin was there. Don't take away from that, but
scary terror.
Give Sam Howell his guy too. Work with Marvin Harrison Jr., build a team around it, new head coach.
This team is going to be. You also I don't even think you mentioned Bobby Wagner.
Oh yeah,
Bobby Wagner is a Commander too.
Well, I'll tell you why I didn't mention him, because he's not on their website.
Oh, well,
I was reading off their website.
Yeah, Bobby Wagner, Seahawks legend Bobby Wagner, about to go over. Well, and I feel for Bobby and I feel for Sam, bro. They're switching coasts. They're going Washington D.C. or Landover, Maryland, I guess, all the way back over to Seattle. That's crazy. But it'll be interesting to see what Washington does with the quarterback situation.
Here's
Stan. You go.
I was going to say, to me, the reason I'm so emphatic about this is because for the Seahawks, I just Googled this just to double check. His cap hit is $1.1 million. $1.1 million. It's nothing. So at the very least, I feel like Washington should have held on to him. And if, let's say, Howell is looking good in the preseason and in practice, and even if he doesn't play a single game, I have no doubt that the Seahawks in week 6 or 7 might give him a 2-year extension, keep him at that low price, because it's so hard to get a quarterback, even just Howell, who might just be at his best a backup quarterback, to get him at $1.1 million. So Sam Howell, there's so much value there, in my opinion. And the other thing for the Commanders is they don't really have the freedom to trade back, at least in my opinion, because the pick right behind them is the Patriots, who also need a quarterback, and furthermore, who aren't exactly an easy team to guess what they're thinking, right? Now, Belichick isn't there making the picks anymore, but because you don't really know what the Patriots are going to do in the draft, the Commanders have no ability to trade back and try to get someone else. So if they have a quarterback in the top 3 that they really want, they're going to have to keep that second pick. So to me, getting rid of Sam Howell, the quarterback who maybe he's not a proven quarterback, but at least in the short term has proved himself to you, that seems like a bad move to me.
Yeah, so my thing with Sam Howell is there was a moment there where, like Chus said, we thought that the Washington Commanders had finally found their franchise guy. And now you're just giving up on him after really only one season as a starter, effectively his rookie year, with a head coach that you fired, with a decent, I don't really think their defense was really that good. They had a lot of good guys, but it just wasn't a great situation for a young quarterback to be in. And now we have the opportunity, really, because Geno Smith is 33 years old. He's had some injury issues the past couple seasons. We might see Sam Howell this season, if for a couple games, if Geno Smith gets hurt, and we might very quickly say, hey, the Commanders screwed up here. And it's going to come down to who they get in those picks. If they knock it out of the park at pick 78 and pick 152, sure, they win. But the Seahawks also got some picks too, and they've been doing pretty good at drafting too. They nailed it with that Denver trade. Those picks they got with the picks from Russell Wilson, they nailed it. And I just, Sam Howell, he could potentially be the Seahawks' future starter. And Drew Lock, I just read a report. The only reason he left Seattle is because the Giants told him he has a real shot to be the starter in New York over Danny Dimes. So we got that to look out for. I just don't like this trade. I don't think the Commanders so easily won this year. I think people are looking at the Mac Jones trade and saying, oh, they only got a sixth for Mac Jones and we got a third and a fifth, we win automatically. That's not how that works. Those picks could both be busts.
Yeah, and also Mac Jones just is I don't know. I think Mac Jones is a different skill level than Sam Howell.
We got news. We got big news. We might have to go along. This is breaking news. I promise I'm not over exaggerating. Chicago, this is according to Ari Mirov, my sports update.
Wait, are they trading? Is this Justin Fields?
No.
Oh.
This is more shocking. We thought he was in the clear. He is not. Chicago is trading a 4th round pick to the Chargers for wide receiver Keenan Allen. Allen will be paired up with DJ Moore in Chicago.
Bro, they're LA's done, man. Jim Harbaugh has nothing to work with right now. That's tough because oh man, that's crazy.
Let's talk about that. I mean, that's huge.
Who's Justin Herbert going to throw to? Because isn't Mike Williams off contract right now?
They just cut Mike Williams.
Yeah, they were trying to work on a contract extension. Then they cut him, and then they were like, all right. And then they traded Keenan Allen away. So you got that one wide receiver that I can't even think of his name right now. That isn't Joshua Kelly. You're gonna have
Quentin
Joshua
Johnston.
Kelly. Yeah, so you're gonna run.
That's all they got because So what happened was yesterday they needed to get under the cap. They were over the cap, so they had Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack both rework their contracts. Holy cow, this is big. They had, and everyone was like, the only guy who was 100% safe is Keenan Allen. They're definitely not going to do anything with Keenan Allen. They're going to let him be a Charger for life. Now he is not a Charger for life. Does this mean they're keeping Justin Fields?
I guess.
I mean, or are they trying to entice Caleb Williams and getting ready for him to come in? What do you guys think this means?
I don't know. I think that I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think it'll be interesting because I think they obviously probably haven't given. Well, I don't know because I just don't know, man. Because I keep thinking about things, and then I'm like, no, I don't know because they're so invested on the whole Chicago organization, the fan base. They're all invested on potentially either keeping Fields, and the other half is split down the middle trying to get Caleb Williams drafted. So, in my opinion, I mean, they could either be gearing up for getting Caleb Williams some receivers, or they're getting some receivers for Justin Fields. I mean, I know that's a dumb answer, but I don't think it's very clear right now what they're doing because they talked about trading Justin Fields, but they haven't yet. So it makes you wonder, would Justin Fields start over Caleb Williams? Would Caleb Williams get the automatic starting job and then Justin Fields be the backup? Would they keep both of them? Would they trade one? I don't know what you would do because they don't. I don't know, man.
I think we just got a comment here. Cassandra Future just said that's an insanely good move for the Bears. I cannot believe Allen was that cheap. John Doe just added. John Doe is saying, don't lie in the captions, bro. Allen didn't get traded. Yes, he did. Ari Mirov is reporting right now. This is per Ari Mirov. Look it up yourself. Keenan Allen was traded for a 4th-round pick to the Chicago Bears, and Ian Rappaport is now on it. I feel great about reporting this right now. Keenan Allen was approached about taking a pay cut today, which he declined. The team then dealt him to the Bears, who continue to load up.
Yeah, it 58 seconds ago on Rap Sheet. I would definitely go double check on that.
So
people are blowing up about it. JPA football's mentioning it. People are talking about
this. This is big.
What
do we think about? I think Cassandra makes a good point. I think Keenan Allen is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL.
Oh, 100%. I've always said that Keenan Allen was very underrated. I feel like he was just never looked at as that top guy because there was always like other wide receivers shining over him at points because the Chargers, nothing against the Chargers, but I don't think they were ever like as relevant as some of these other teams that have had like really top wide receivers at the moment that, Keenan Allen was shining. I mean, he was good for multiple years with Phillip Rivers. I mean, the only thing with Keenan Allen was I felt like a lot of times he did get hurt occasionally, like he would be out a couple games at least. But I agree. I think Keenan Allen's always been very underrated. And 4th-round pick, yeah. I mean, he's older though, isn't he? He's in like his 30s now. So, but I mean, he's still got a couple years in him.
I think it's a just okay trade.
Okay, why do you think that?
So one, as you mentioned, Chus, the age is a big factor. I mean, at 32 and a wide receiver, I think I'd find it hard to believe he has even 2 more years left in the tank. But really, what really gets me worried for the Bears about this is the amount of money he's going to have. I mean, his cap hit. I know the Chargers, it was $36 million. I don't know how that works with the trade and whatnot, and how much the Chargers are retaining. But like realistically speaking, that's going to take away a lot of your ability to sign other free agents. But I think for what he was traded for, you said it was a 4th
round. That's all that they're saying.
I think that's a fair trade for both sides because the Chargers really what they need to do is clear out some of that cap space, and the Chargers also have a lot of draft capital. So getting a little more, especially when you have a new head coach who knows a lot of these guys from playing against them and studying them last few years. In college football, I think it makes sense to get some more picks and try to build your future with your new head coach. So I think for both teams, this is a very good trade, and I don't know necessarily that the Bears really stole something from the Chargers here.
Okay, yeah, we got a ton of comments here. Bird is super excited. He says, "Let's go, dude! Balled out last year. Huge upgrade for us. Our team is built on age." I mean, I think if worst case scenario, and I don't know what his contract looks like. But Tommy Taquito says Keenan Allen is dust. But I think even if let's say he is old, he doesn't live up to the hype. He's at least a good mentor to have in that locker room, assuming you still draft some wide receivers. They lost Darnell Mooney. They've had to bring someone in. They now have DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, who, in my opinion, if he had won a Super Bowl, a lot of people would just already have him in the the Hall of Fame conversation. Maybe not first ballot, but eventually kind of in that Mike Evans category. I just think Keenan Allen's super underrated. Let's see. Let's get a few other comments. Even if he's number 2, Moore is the number 1. The Bears have picks to burn, so this doesn't bother me. The money could be an issue. Yeah, the money could be an issue. The Bears. I don't know the Bears franchise as much. We're not usually a Bears podcast, but this is like a huge story, so we're talking about it. I'd love to know if someone thinks the Bears will rework this contract. And Adam Schefter is pointing out the Chargers can now consider selecting a wide receiver with the number 5 overall pick, which they could take like Neighbors. Neighbors will probably be there. I don't know what the Chargers are doing though.
I was wondering the same thing. I feel like the Chargers right now are kind of bare bones in a way. I mean, they've got some players, but I mean, they're working with some guys over there, but I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but cutting Williams and then trading Allen, you're going to be running with Quentin and I guess
So
we'll
you
see.
have Quentin Johnston. Eckler's not there. Who
was did they sign a running back replacement? I can't think of it off the top of my head. There were so many over this past week.
Chad? Does someone know off the top of their head if I can look it up?
Because obviously they
they did. Gus Edwards.
Yes, Gus Edwards. Okay, yeah. So Gus Edwards, and then their backup is still what? Joshua Kelly? Is that?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're gonna run with those guys, and I guess that could be hit or miss. But it was no Eck. I mean, the only thing with Eck last season was that he was just hurt a lot. But I mean, he was pretty consistent for them over the last couple of seasons. Yeah, it makes me wonder. But I mean, I do still think Jim Harbaugh's a good coach. So I think that he'll be able to figure out what he's doing, I guess, at some point. But maybe it's not this year. But yeah, I don't know. I wonder what the Bears are going to do with Justin Fields or Caleb Williams. I do, because the big rumor over the entire last month was that Justin Fields was going to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then obviously Russell Wilson is in Pittsburgh now, so Justin Fields has not been traded. And with this move, are they developing for Justin Fields to throw to these guys, or are they going to have Caleb Williams? Are they going to have both? I mean, we were just talking about that earlier. I don't know how many people are in the chat right now. I don't know, but just figured throw that in there.
So yeah, I think John Doe he's definitely talking about the Chargers here. He says they aren't getting Marvin Harrison Jr. unless they trade up. And that's actually something we were talking about like right before this broke, was the Commanders. We thought that maybe they were going after Marvin Harrison Jr., but then they traded Sam Howell. So they're definitely probably going after a quarterback. And now John Doe is saying Neighbors is good, but not elite. I think he's got potential. I don't think he's necessarily he's not as good as Marvin Harrison Jr., obviously, but I think he's got some potential. And apparently the Chargers are not in a win now situation. I thought they might be with some of these guys being older, but now that Mike Williams is out, they really wanted to keep Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. Both of them restructured their contracts and took pay cuts to stay on the team. Sandra Future says, I thought after ditching Williams and restructuring Bosa and Mack that Allen was a lock to stay. Yeah, that was the report. I think it was Rappaport that said they will not get rid of Keenan Allen. They will cut Khalil Mack. They will trade Joey Bosa. They will do all these other things. Keenan Allen is the only Charger that is safe besides Justin Herbert. I'm surprised by this.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, now we wait and see what the Chargers do decide to do. Obviously, we kind of have an idea of what the Bears are trying to do, but I still wonder who their starting quarterback is going to be. I wonder who the Washington Commanders are going to draft, and now I wonder who the Chargers are going to draft. So
we got sorry, my screen updated right as I was going to do that.
So bright. How do you not have that on like night mode or whatever it's called? How do you live?
This is my normal screen. DJ Moore's excited right here. He's ready for it. And you said you can't have it all. DJ Moore, he's ready for it. Then you've got, they've made some moves in free agency. This is what Jeremy Fowler, they've got Gerald Everett in free agency. They also signed DeAndre Swift in free agency. This is obviously the biggest one though, right here. Mr. Keenan Allen. That's exciting for the Chicago Bears fans.
So what's way too early predictions of the Bears record now? What are we thinking? Are we thinking the Bears are going to be a powerhouse?
Darius Aldridge says the Bears are trying to pull a 2023 Texans season. Daniel Rodriguez says bear down. I'm excited for this. Diligent King 1 says draft Caleb now. I'm not big on Caleb Williams personally, but
he could be that generational talent. But we'll see. We'll see. That's for a draft discussion. But yeah. Like there's a lot of good quarterbacks in that draft coming up here. But we'll see.
We got a lot of Bears fans in the chat right now. Bears fans, what do you think your record is going to be with these signings and with Caleb, without Caleb?
With Fields and
with Caleb? Fields. I kind of want to see Fields with these guys. And Stan, feel free to jump in at any time. Like, what do you want to see with this?
I mean, a quarterback. I mean, first of all, the NFC North, in my opinion, is probably going to be the hardest to figure out division in football this upcoming year. Because look at all those teams there, right? I mean, the Lions are the most definite, probably going to be a good team, but every other team has so much potential, has so much talent, but also so many big wide holes. So I'm really curious to see how that works out with the Bears. Will they get that quarterback? In my opinion, they have to go through the draft and try to get someone. And as these weeks have gone by, you've seen like 6 or 7 different guys entering that first round conversation. So if there are 6 or 7 first round level quarterbacks in this draft, if the Bears believe that, I mean, do you trade back and maybe go for someone else and maybe get some more draft capital? Do you let someone else move up? There's a lot of questions, I think, for the Bears. And the big thing that this getting Keenan Allen does, and I did say I don't like the financial aspect of it, but it gives you one less problem to worry about. Your wide receiver room is basically fixed now, right? You have 2 wide receiver 1 level guys. So you don't have to worry about that. You have a few other, weapons in your offense. To me, the quarterback is the last thing you really got to, hunker down and figure out. Their O-line isn't that bad either.
And they also signed Gerald Everett, who spent time with the Chargers. So they've got 2 Chargers now there who already have some chemistry together. That could come into play as well. Cole Kmet is a stud when he gets the ball. He's probably one of the more underrated tight ends in the NFL. DeAndre Swift, he popped off last season. Let's see the stream. They are excited about this. Bears will go 14-3 with Caleb. 2 losses to Detroit and 1 to Green Bay. Okay, I'm talking crazy, said Daniel Rodriguez. John Doe said, oh, hell no, 14-3, LMAO. M Man said, I'm not big on Caleb. Keep Justin. Better record with Fields by far. We've got Cassandra Future. I don't care about the Bears, but I thought the Sweat trade was a huge mistake last season because the Bears were so far from competing. But maybe I was wrong. I do hate the Swift signing. The Sweat trade allowed for Sweat to be the only defensive end in NFL history to have led in sacks on 2 different teams in one season. So that tells you where the Bears and the Commanders were at last season. And Ari Mirov is now grading the Chargers wide receiver room, and that is Quentin Johnston, Josh Palmer, Darius Davis, and Semi Fioco.
That's who I was thinking of, Joshua Palmer. I kept saying Joshua Kelly, but Joshua Kelly is on the team. He's just a running back. Yeah. Joshua Palmer. I remember having him as a wide receiver flex last year for fantasy. And that's just how I remembered him because, obviously Williams and Keenan Allen were the 2 big guys, but you're running with those guys now over in LA. It's kind of interesting, but I don't know. See,
some intern with ESPN is struggling right now. I just pulled up their depth chart, and the only person they have, according to ESPN, is Keenan Allen. No one else is listed. So
for who?
No one's listed on what?
The Bears depth chart.
For wide receivers or just for everybody?
For everything. He's the only guy on the team. So I think the Bears might have traded 40 guys for him.
Dang, guys, Chicago fans, you guys might be screwed according to ESPN. Keenan Allen is your team. There is nobody else on your team according to ESPN right now on the depth chart.
No buts about it. It's a better news source. We got I've got Bear. Well, I think John Doe actually brings up a good point about the Lions. You ain't running on the Lions, LOL. Reader in the middle now. That's a good signing, John Doe. If you're a Lions fan, yeah, Reader, as long as he comes back healthy, he was great for the Bengals. I'm a Bengals fan. I loved him. Great signing. Pulled up the depth. Cassandra Future said she did the same thing. Pulled up the depth chart, and it was only Allen. So we have confirmation that Stan is not crazy. The Chicago Bears are only Keenan Allen now.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that's crazy. I wonder how that'll go.
I like JF1. I just don't trust him to take us to the next level. I don't see the Bears trading the number 1 pick again. Besides, if any of these quarterbacks end up better than JF1, Ryan Poles will get fired. My thing is like, other than DJ Moore and I guess Cole Kmet, Fields hasn't really had that many weapons. Like, I'm kind of interested to see what this looks like with Justin Fields. I mean, would you rather? I don't know where you guys could trade Justin Fields either at this point. Ooh, we've got another big signing.
Are you okay? Okay. All right.
We do.
What-
It's another wide receiver.
Oh, I was thinking it was a punter. To be honest,
No,
I'm really excited about the punter
I like
signings.
to do that a lot. Wait, was there a punter signed?
No, I just was really
Oh.
excited about the Steelers signing Cameron Johnston. I already talked about that earlier today. So,
Well, the Arizona Cardinals former wide receiver for the Arizona Cardinals, Hollywood Brown, is signing with the Kansas City Chiefs, another high-octane target for Patrick Mahomes, one of the most talented wide receivers available on a one-year deal, says Ian Rappaport. So wide receivers are starting to come off the board in free agency. Some big names. What do we think about that one? And chat, feel free to jump in on this as well. You guys are always welcome to comment.
Hollywood Brown, I mean, I think with him going to the Chiefs now, I mean, so at least Kansas City will have, I guess, for Patrick Mahomes, somebody that's like okay to throw to. I mean, I feel like the wide receiver room last year for Kansas City was a little, I don't want to say like lackluster, but I definitely think it was a little lackluster. I mean, somehow they won the Super Bowl with it. I mean, I don't know if that's just Patrick Mahomes or just everything else, but I mean, that's why I keep saying that, like, I wouldn't be surprised if like T. Higgins or somebody got traded over to Kansas City, but I mean, maybe they are going to start trying to build up their wide receiver core over there. But I mean, Marquise Brown, I guess wide receiver one.
I guess. I mean, T. Higgins isn't going to get traded to the Chiefs.
Well, I mean, hey, they could give up a second round pick for him or whatever you guys want for him. I don't know what you guys are asking for.
I would need like 5 first-round picks to send him to the Chiefs.
All right. Well, unfortunately, I don't.
Damn Chiefs get better. Shaking my head. I thought maybe they would go for Mike Williams, but still a burner than you. I think not Mike Williams. Hollywood Brown. I think he's pretty good. I think that's going to be a good signing for Patrick Mahomes because Patrick Mahomes elevates everyone he plays with, and that'll be a good signing for him. I mean, we've got the contract now as well, according to Adam Schefter. $11 million, 1-year deal worth up to $11 million. So decent.
So decent. Up to $11 million. So is that based on bonuses and stuff? Like, was it? Okay, because I wonder what like his bonus will end up being at that very moment. Like, what is needed in order for him to like get his bonuses? Because wasn't there was a Raven? I mean, unless one of you guys know off the top of your head, but I just remember there was a Raven last season that like needed a certain amount of sacks in order to get like his $500,000 bonus or something like that. It was crazy.
I think it was Clowney.
Yeah, it was Clowney. Yeah, that's who it was. And they got against the Steelers. All you needed was a half sack, and he got against the Steelers, and he was like really excited about it. So, but yeah, I just didn't know if he needed like 500 yards receiving or 5 touchdowns or what his deal was.
And Cassandra just pointed out here, I've beaten ESPN twice and I've beaten Adam Schefter once. I want to point that out. But Cassandra pointed out that Hollywood Brown was cheaper than Mooney, and I'm going to tell you why. It's because both Mooney and Calvin Ridley are David Malugieta clients. Same guy as T. Higgins. He doesn't let people sign unless they pay a ridiculous guarantee, and that's the situation we're in now. I'm willing to bet good money that if you look up Marquise Brown's agent, it is not David Malugieta, which he's good at his job. It's just annoying as heck as a fan because you want your guys to stay, and then they've got like it's being reported that T's agent is requesting 70 million in guarantees. So, yeah, definitely not a guy you want to hear is representing someone on your team. But, yep, that's the big news. There was thought that the Chiefs needed to wait until they traded L'Jarius Sneed before making a big-time signing. Instead, they lock up Hollywood Brown. Yeah, L'Jarius Sneed, he might get traded, but
I got a question on that for Chus. I mean, I've heard some rumors about Sneed to the Steelers. What do you think about that one?
Sneed to the Steelers. I don't know. Are you talking about like Tyler Sneed? Like
L'Jarius.
Oh, L'Jarius Sneed.
Yeah, number 3 cornerback in the league. That one.
Oh, okay. We're talking about cornerbacks now.
Aaron says Hollywood Brown sucks. He's from the Cardinal Rule. He hangs out with Joe. He says Hollywood Brown sucks. He's a Cardinals fan.
I would
Dang.
freaking love L'Jarius Sneed to come to the Steelers. Are you joking me, bro? Like that would be crazy. Like we go from Patrick Peterson and Joey Porter to having, Sneed. You have Sneed, you have Joey Porter Jr., and then you got that other guy that we traded for in that Deontay Johnson trade. That what I think his name's it's like Dante Banks, I think is his name. Dante Jackson. Yeah, it was close to Deontay Johnson. He's also another DJ, but he didn't do terrible he didn't do real good last season, but I think he has a lot of upside possibly. His contract's just kind of heavy in my opinion. So we might have some pretty good cornerbacks if we were to sign Snead. I don't know what they're doing, but I do think we still need quarterback help, and I do think from a Steelers perspective, I think we also need some line guys too. I don't think the Steelers have really done anything with the line yet, so which I'm waiting on.
I don't want Snead. I don't want Snead to go to Pittsburgh. He's like the only corner who has regularly locked up Jamar Chase.
Oh yeah,
and if you guys so a lot of you guys weren't here before, but we were talking about Patrick Queen and how excited I was. Patrick Queen was finally a free agent. He was getting out of the AFC North, getting off the dang Baltimore Ravens. No, he goes and signs with the Steelers. That was just rude. I was thinking about that all year. Every time they mentioned him, he's gonna be gone.
Nah. He's now a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Let's read some more of these comments here. I wanted Snead in Detroit, but Davis the third is solid. Davis the third is solid, and that could be a good veteran presence if you guys continue to draft. He could help out Brian Branch as well. That could be a good signing. Snead could also be a veteran presence as well, but I think Carlton Davis is a good signing. Aaron says, take it from a Cardinals fan. This dude is like the guy from SpongeBob who wakes up every morning and breaks his arms and then breaks his legs in the afternoon. That's how he describes
Marquise Brown.
Yeah.
Aaron all right. All righty then. And look, Kansas City, you guys are in for a rough run then. I like that SpongeBob reference though. That was freaking awesome. I need to. I might go watch SpongeBob after we jump off at some point. Like that's awesome.
What do you think about this move?
I mean, I just don't watch that much Cardinals football. I know someone from Cardinal Rules here. I'm sorry, man. I need to start doing that, but I just don't know enough about him. I've heard he wasn't the best when he was on the Ravens. I didn't really like a whole lot of his game. And I was actually really hoping the Jets wouldn't get him because I knew he was an option. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this isn't the best move, but for a team, as you mentioned with Mahomes earlier, he's a guy who elevates the rest of that team. So if you have someone who, he had a 1,000-yard season with Baltimore, 2 years ago, maybe he could do it again with the best quarterback in the league. So I think it makes sense for both sides. I think for the Cardinals, you're moving on. You're not really a team that's going to fight that much. So at least get some capital to build and to move forward with. So I think for both teams it works out.
Yeah, for $11 million, and that's the $11 million is like the cap apparently. So this could be something like where it's $6 million and then $5 million in incentives. It's probably a little different in that. I'm just guessing. Nothing's.
Wait, was he traded for, or was it?
No, he was a free agent.
Oh, okay.
So, it says Ari Mirov is saying Hollywood Brown didn't have the offers he wanted on the open market, so he decided to sign with the Chiefs on a 1-year deal, play with Patrick Mahomes, and then get back to the market next year. So this dude's just like taking a vacation with Patrick Mahomes. Essentially, he's just like,
he's like, they're gonna win another Super Bowl with me. I might as well grab a ring and then hit the market again.
It was like they did it without me. Why not?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know, guys. I'm kind of worried still about Kansas City. I feel like Kansas City's just gonna be that New England team for the next 15 years. So, but we'll see.
I'm waiting for a big Bengals signing. Duke Tobin likes to work at night. He signed like 5 people last night. Becton's in town.
The fact that we got 2 big live signings, or a trade and a signing, like within like 5-10 minutes of each other while we were recording the show, is pretty insane on my end personally. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Or the Bengals are just going to sign nobody else. I think you guys just might be done. I think you guys are going to tank. think you guys are going to try to get Arch Manning, get rid of Joe Burrow. I think you guys are just done.
Just done as a franchise.
Yeah. You guys are going to move to Kansas City because Kansas City is moving out of Kansas City. Okay, these are all just like crazy. None of this is true. So, but yeah.
Aaron is saying, well, now T. Higgins is trading. Why is T. Higgins? Okay, real quick.
Because he's going to Kansas City.
Oh. Well, Aaron says, of course, he'll probably show out in KC. We were garbage, but when you get outworked by Greg Dortch and Michael Wilson, who was a rookie last year, good luck. Yeah, you hope he makes that 11 mil. That means he did really good. Incentives. Brad Holmes always signs at night. I'm convinced Duke Tobin doesn't wake up till like 10 p.m. at night because he does all sorts of. Why is T. Higgins true? Did T. Higgins do something? Is he just randomly trending for fun?
Why don't you check?
I'm checking. It's just wait until it's just people like talking about T. Higgins, but enough people are doing it. That Patrick Mahomes posted a smiling emoji. I don't know. So we got Keenan Allen and Marquise Brown both signed to brand new teams in the last like 10 minutes. Let's go back to Keenan Allen a little bit because we kind of got cut off by Marquise Brown. Did you guys have any other thoughts on Keenan Allen? Because that signing still sticks out to me as bigger than Marquise Brown.
No, I think, like I said, I think it'll be interesting to see what they do with him over in Chicago. Obviously, he'll more than likely be starting. I don't see why he wouldn't be, but it'll be interesting to see if he's a mentor, a bridge player, or if they're just kind of using him as like a grab to, help develop, a Justin Fields or a Caleb Williams or something like that. It'll also be interesting to see who the LA Chargers get for their 4th round pick, and as well as trying to see what the Chargers are going to do now with a bare bones relative wide receiver core. So, but that's just me. We'll see. I'm pretty interested to see what the Chargers do. Chicago, we kind of already have like a general idea. Now it's just about the quarterbacks.
I might get attacked for this in the chat, and that's fine. I really want to see Justin Fields in this offense. Aaron Van Buren is saying GM of the year already goes to Ryan Poles. Keenan Allen for a 4th is the biggest fleece since Hopkins to Arizona. That's scary for the North as a Lions fan. Again, he lit us up by himself last year. No, Keenan Allen is amazing. I think, I imagine if he had a Peyton Manning. I guess he had Phillip Rivers for a little bit, and Justin Herbert's good. But imagine if he had a Hall of Fame level quarterback. He would be amazing. What else do we got here? If you really want to hear fun radio, 670 The Score is going to be lit and hilarious the next few days. Fields needs to stay. No, Fields. Okay, so here's the thing with Justin Fields. Either of you correct me if I'm wrong, but is there anywhere that's going to take Justin Fields? I know the Vikings don't have a quarterback, but why would you trade him to your division rival? I don't see that happening unless they get a ton of picks, but I don't
know. I mean, the problem is apparently there was reports saying that whenever the Steelers had signed Russell Wilson, there were teams interested in getting Kenny Pickett. So there might just be teams that just kind of want the quarterback depth or just to have a quarterback competition. So, there is possibly, teams out there that could just want him just to have him, it's a weird concept to say, but it's not Mac Jones going to Jacksonville is dumb. Okay. You have that happening. Obviously Jimmy G left, got cut by the Raiders. Now you got Gardner Minshew over there. You got Drew Lock over in New York. You don't really got anything over in the Patriots. You still have the Commanders. There's a lot of teams that could probably put him on the depth chart, but have just chosen not to.
Here's what I think might be the best situation for him and the team, and that's the team I hate the most, the Patriots, because they did bring in a few big offensive pieces. They also re-signed a lot of guys to their O-line and around their team. And a guy like Justin Fields, I think, could really succeed there, especially with a new head coach, with a new system. I'd be curious to see if New England makes a move for him.
That's valid. New England could make a move for him. Aaron is saying Commanders, which that is true now that they've traded Sam Howell, which I still think that they probably lost that trade. But Justin Fields could go to the Patriots. I know Chus is really big on Jaden Daniels. I could see them going after him too.
I think it all stems from that the Madden franchise that I had with Jordan Battle and Kyle Hamilton and Brew McCoy, who's returning to freaking Tennessee for another year. So he's probably not even gonna get drafted at this point. But
you have the most random analysis.
Yeah, I'm pretty big on Jaden Daniels. He won LA Rams a Super Bowl in my franchise minutes. So.
But the thing is, guys, for those that are new to the show, Chus bases a lot of his analysis, not all of it, but a lot of it.
No, some of my analysis. Okay, some
of his draft prospecting analysis off of Madden, but he has been right a lot.
Hey, Jordan Battle was a steal. I knew that from a fact, and nobody believed me.
No,
Here we are.
Patriots are gonna see if he goes to the Patriots though, Stan. He's gonna have the same problem he had in Chicago, and he doesn't have any receivers. So I don't know that that's really a fix for Justin Fields. But
I don't know about that. I mean, the Patriots they have Jalen Reagor now, and then they've had they have Hunter Henry. They've had him for a bit. They have a decent O-line. I think they have the tools to make him work.
Did you just say Jalen Reagor? Jalen Reagor's awful.
Yeah, but he's on the Patriots.
You know what Jalen Reagor is known for? Jalen Reagor is known for being taken before Justin Jefferson, and that's it.
I don't know. I think that would be a good fit for him.
Fields with Marvin Harrison Jr., Moore, Allen, Komet, Swift, and help the O-line is scary, says John Doe. Aaron says random and weird analogies / analysis. No, it just works. It's the way we do things here. Work. Okay, you added work to it.
They work. Hey, I'm telling you, they work. Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, Aaron does not agree that Jalen Reagor is worth anything.
He was the person they added. That's why I brought him up. But they have Juju. They have Hunter Henry, who's a very good tight end.
Juju, Kansas City Chiefs legend, Juju Smith-Schuster.
Do they still have Juju?
Kansas City Chiefs?
No,
the Patriots.
I meant the Patriots.
The Patriots do.
I guess they have Kendrick Bourne.
They got Antonio Gibson. I think they have the tools, and most importantly, they were able to keep basically all of their O-line free agents, right? Mike Onwenu, we all thought he was going to go somewhere else. He re-signed with them for 3 years. So they have good O-line. They have some decent receivers. They brought in Antonio Gibson. I think they're a good spot for a young quarterback, especially because they're going to have a new head coach. If Belichick was the coach, this would be dead on arrival, in my opinion. But because you have a new head coach, I think this could work out.
We got to fact check this Juju thing because I think he's a free agent, and people in the chat are saying they thought he's a free agent. So I got to do some fact checking here. Juju Smith-Schuster is a free agent in 2026.
So he is a current Patriot then.
He is a current Patriot.
Wave that red, white, and blue flag.
They owe him $7 million. Juju should patent a first aid kit and name it Juju's Boo Boo's Fix Yous.
Yeah, never
Drake
forget.
May is their guy and going to end up like Mac. I haven't watched a lot on Drake May. I haven't watched a lot of quarterbacks. I watched Jaden Daniels. I watched Caleb Williams. I didn't really watch Drake May is really the guy that I didn't watch a lot of just because I'm not interested in them because we have Joe Burrow. But I mean, Chus, do you know anything about Drake May?
Drake May, I am not 100% familiar. I know he played for North Carolina. North Carolina is in the ACC. I didn't watch a lot of Pitt football this year because Pitt football was absolutely garbage, but I do know that Drake May has been very decent and has knocked on us a lot. Now, I don't know how high he would be in regards to like all these other quarterbacks that are coming out. Looking at his stats, he had 9 rushing touchdowns, 24 passing touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and 3,600 yards passing this year, which isn't too bad. Obviously, North Carolina wasn't anywhere close to like a Florida State or anything like that, but they were pretty decent. Yeah, I don't know where he would be at like draft capital wise, in my opinion, but like I mean, he's not going to be as high as like a Jaden Daniels or a even like a JJ McCarthy. I feel like I think he'll be like a good mid round pick. I think he could be a steal though. I think he has potential, in my opinion.
Yeah. So I know that we normally only do an hour show. So thank you to Stan. I know Chus has to get off soon. So
yeah, I got some other different projects I gotta get working on over here, but you know, that's okay. I'm glad to have hopped on. Yeah, we were only gonna do an hour, but then you know, some news broke and you guys decided to join us on this show excursion, which we obviously really appreciate, and we hope that you enjoyed us bantering.
So if I don't Stan, I assume you also have to go. I've got work in the morning, but no, May is the 3rd best quarterback according to experts. I think we're gonna have to wrap this up just because we normally do a show once a week. We put out videos throughout the week, so make sure you're subscribed. You don't miss anything like that. I'm gonna recheck Twitter real quick, make sure nothing big just happened that we're gonna miss, because I don't. That literally the only reason I got this so quickly was because I was on Twitter. But I think it's time that we wrap up here. Make sure you're subscribed if you haven't already. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Really.
I have my spiel that I do for the new people.
Yeah, you want to do your spiel for the new people?
I want to do my spiel for the new people so that they can know where our social media sites are and such things. Thank you for listening to today's show. If you enjoyed, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. We can be found anywhere you listen to podcasts and on YouTube at No Butts Show. Our social media pages are NoButts_show on Instagram and No Butts Show on TikTok. My Twitter is Josh_Butts_2001. And if you would like to reach us, if you would like to, I don't know why, if you want to ask a question and you want us to talk about it, you can reach us at Bull Moose Podcast 2. That's the number 2 at gmail.com. Finally, our spread shop will be in the description, so check out the merch. Once again, if you enjoyed today's show, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, go do something nice for someone. Got to end on that positivity. And Aaron, we appreciate you for tuning in. Cassandra, thank you for tuning in as well. Quingleton Boobas, thank you for those sunglasses.
I'm pretty sure never mind.
I'm pretty sure I know who that is too, but thank you. Thank you everyone who has come in. Make sure to subscribe and we will see you next time.